We can't afford to keep buying new books. So we get really good with tape and glue. The library is a space for everybody. It doesn't matter what your reading level is. It doesn't matter what your interests are. Hopefully there is something to engage every student. When they're here in the library, no one wants to read a damaged, very sad, old, smelly book, you know. And so we can't get rid of them all right away because we need to have some books in the library. And some of them are old favorites that you need to have in your collection. We just can't. We have to keep them on the shelves even though they're very sad. It's sad. It's sad that the collection can't be updated so that the needs of all the students and teachers can be met. It affects their choices. They don't have as many choices, and it's so frustrating. So for example, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, we only have the first 3 in the series. Other popular series, we might have 1, 3, and 7, but that means they can't read them in order.
I asked for new books, but they said they didn't have enough money for the cost. I asked for Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Big Nate, and some other comic books. So it's really hard to discover new books if there's no new books.
I like the library so I can read new books, and it feels like I'm in the book when I read it.
I love books, and that if you want to read a book but you also don't want to buy it, you could just take it from the library.
Many schools, they were built in the 60s, the 70s. You'll have books from 60s, 70s, 80s. However, if your library is not continuously weeded, then you are going to have the problem of older books on your shelves. And if you cannot get new books every year, you can't weed the older books out because your shelves, there won't be enough for all the students. If literacy is a huge concern for our students, and they don't have access to books at home because, for example, they can't afford to purchase them. They don't know about the Ottawa Public Library. Their parents might not have time to take them there or just don't know about it. Coming to the library, it enhances what they're already doing in the classroom. But they're reading for pleasure. It's not something that they're asked to do. It's not a specific book that they must read. It's their choice. Things change so quickly. The planets, Pluto is no longer classified as a planet. So information that is not correct, information that is outdated, that is a big problem with nonfiction. I believe it's because we have a lot of new Canadians, and so they just don't have access to purchasing books and having them at home.
English is not the language of the home of a number of our students, and so in those families they would have books within their first language but may not have books within English or French, and all of our students are learning both English and French. So our library gives them an opportunity to borrow and try out those books, to practice them at home, to practice them with their parents, and to find the books that interest them and the topics that interest them to take home and share with families. So it's an important resource to be able to have handy and to have right here. There are so many things that will add to the way that our children learn. And we don't want to forget the libraries, but we want to make sure that we've got a really rich collection that the children can borrow, take home, share with their families, and bring back in the spirit of a library.